going on, guys? It's me, Troi, and I'm here with another video, of course. Why was I doing that? I don't know. But anyway, the point is that I'm here, alright? But I am back. I want to thank everybody who recently commented, liked, and subscribed, and I'm going to try to get into this video and make it quick. So today I'm going to be talking about, hold on if I can pick it up. We're going to be talking about my reading of Alibis and Angels, which is the third book in the Sister Lou Cozy Mystery series. As you guys know, Sister Lou is a black plainclothes sister. I keep wanting to say nun. She's a sister. There's a difference. But anyway, the series is written by Olivia Matthews, aka Patricia Sargent. And this is, like I said, the third book, Alibis and Angels. But just a quick reference, the first book was Mayhem and Mass. And the second book was Peril and Prayer. And I have separate videos about all of those two books, plus this one. So, Alibis and Angels. Let's first get into what this book is about, because of course it's a cozy mystery series. So Alibis and Angels is primarily about the troubles of the mayor of this fictional New England community called Briar Coast. That mayor's name is Heather Stanley. She has been featured in the previous two books, and unfortunately she's in this place where her the re-election polls are about to start opening up. So she of course is hoping to get re-elected as the mayor. However, someone is sending her a stream of threatening messages. Messages that are really, I won't say threatening, but they're mostly trying to persuade her in some rather dark ways to, get out of Briar Coast. And if she should leave, then of course that would take her out of the running for being elected as the mayor. Now, that seems kind of, I don't want to say safe, but it seems kind of, all right, someone's sending these letters. Nothing too much to worry about, right? She hides them from other individuals. She's not going to let this run her out of her town. But unfortunately, she is due for a meeting with the Board of Education. And because she is still kind of hedging on those letters, she decides, maybe I shouldn't go. So she sends her assistant instead. And her assistant actually takes one of her coats, as well as takes her car, given permission, to the Board of Education meeting in her place. And that sets her up for a mistaken identity situation in which she has found herself murdered. But unfortunately, that murder doesn't look like a murder. It looks like a very bad accident that took place. So per the authorities, the mayor's assistant's death looks like an accident. But be that as it may, the mayor does not want to get the authorities involved by revealing to them those threatening letters. What she decides to do instead is, because given Sister Lou's track record for catching criminals in like the previous two books, she decides to beg Sister Lou to help her find out who is sending these letters, and if in fact her assistant's death was actually not an accident but murder. And so that right there is the setup of Alibis and Angels. And of course, the plainclothes nun Sister Lou comes in to help solve the case with all her wisdom and Catholic wisdom. And then of course her nephew, who is the fundraising the character who receives the donations or get in contact with donators, he comes along to help. His name is Chris. And then of course we have Shari. Shari is the main character who works at the local newspaper office. So, given that this is a cozy series, crime reports come across her desk. She writes her reports. She got to get to the T. So now let's just make this quick by getting into the book. It's really hard for me to talk about what I thought about this book without addressing some of the immersive breaking nuggets and tidbit issues that I had with the previous two books. So doing that comparison thing, although I don't like to do the comparison thing, I just kind of feel like that's just how it works for me in this particular case, having read these three books. But so you'll see that here. But what I want to say first is that we have good news and we have bad news as it regards to Alibis and Angels. So two different columns. The good news, let's get right into it, in comparison to the previous two books, is that the author quelled the overuse of adjectives to describe inanimate objects, as well as the overuse of descriptive passages to describe various characters' eye color, hair color, what are they wearing today, their shoes, the cherry wood desk, the imitation, the faux leather seats. It quelled back some. Part of that, I feel like, is me being adjusted and acclimated to the author's style after reading and going through those things in the previous two books. But I think that honestly, I'm between them that either I don't notice it anymore, or it's scaled back. Anyway, whatever the case may be, it didn't break the immersiveness of the experience like it did in some of the previous two books. So that's one good thing. The second good thing about this book in comparison to the other books, I'm sorry I have to do it this way, is the book is shorter. Thank you. The book is shorter. It's a good 60 pages shorter than the previous two books. And the reason that I think that this is a good thing is because in the previous two books, I felt like there was a lot of filler, particularly as the author was putting in work between each of the relationships of the characters. You know, I said it before, she worked with Sister Lou and Shari, Sister Lou and Ben and Shari, etc., etc., etc. All Sister Lou and other congregational members, all interspersed within the unfolding of the investigation. Lots of filler and all of that, but I think that while that is present in Alibis and Angels, I didn't notice it as much. And I want to say one of the reasons I didn't notice it as much is because I feel like that this was the most concise and tightly knitted entry within the series. And now the third thing, I want to say that many of the, like I said in my previous video of Peril and Prayer, the second book, she really did a great job of drawing her suspecting characters. You know, you can go visit that video to see the rest of my thoughts on that. But I think that it took a slight step back in Alibis and Angels, but I kind of don't even want to say so. Because this book was heavy on, well, not heavy, but it was mildly about politics. So with the suspecting characters, there were these various viewpoints of political viewpoints that they had that really colored and coded them. So we didn't get into so much of their personal stuff like cheating wives and stuff, but into their political beliefs we did get into that. So that wasn't too bad. But what I will say this, given that we're still in the column of good and we're talking about the strengths that I found in this particular book in the series, this was the best villain character. She drew her best villain character in this one. And I want to say that because this character appeared repeatedly on stage. And the other one they did too. But here's the difference. The difference is that while it's easy to see who the villain is, because I think that it was telegraphed quite instantaneously upon that character's appearance on stage, the history of this character was divvied out as clues throughout the reading process until you got to the end. Given those clues in between really helped shape this villain, as opposed to all of a sudden the sweet little innocent characters just, okay, they got this really harsh backstory that we're learning about in the last 50 pages of the book. Good job. Now, since I'm done with the good, I'm going to move over to the bad. As I said, in the good, this is the strongest entry. Alibis and Angels is the strongest entry in the series. The bad news is that it's also the last. And I've gotten confirmation of that from the author herself. And immediately upon hearing that news, I was like this. No, we ain't gonna put the fist down here. We're gonna put it like this. I was like this. Like, really? This is the last book? Man, that's jacked up. And, you know, like I said, despite all of my little grievances and issues, because, you know, I'm just passionate about reading and I just have to express myself, you know. To me, it's just a matter of immersiveness and telling a good story. Whatever breaks that immersiveness, then that's my issue. But my point is that, what I'm trying to say is that, and I dislike the word potential because I'm not a writer. I couldn't write a thing to save my life, except maybe a sentence. But I see the strengths. I see the possibilities in this series. I see the possibilities particularly in her characters. Now, even saying that, one of the things that drove me crazy, y'all know I'm such a ball of contradictions, but one of the things that drove me crazy about Alibis and Angel was that it was too Shari heavy. And that is a repeated offense given the previous two books. Now, let me just dress this up. As we know, there's Sister Lou, there's her nephew, I was going to say nephew Tommy, there's her nephew Chris, and then there's Shari. Shari is the character who grew up in the foster care system. She's the newspaper reporter, so she still is struggling and grappling with finding a place to call home. And she's now settled in Briar Coast as a newspaper reporter who is dating Ben, as we saw. The author took her time getting that relationship together, who is dating Ben. So the issue or the repeated offense is that she is constantly outshining Sister Lou. I said that. I said that she is, to me, she's constantly outshining Sister Lou, and Ben is continuously being pushed into the back. And the only reason that that's an issue is that for the past 3 books, we constantly are grappling with Shari's issues with feeling confident in her job, which is okay, because like I said, I do identify with Shari. As far as even making videos on YouTube, I identify with her feeling like she's welcomed, and her grappling with whether or not she's going to continue to stay in Briar Coast to work for that newspaper office while receiving phone calls from another newspaper office that promises her a much more lucrative opportunity if she should decide to move over to that side. This has been going on for 3 books, and it wiped me out at this one. It wiped me out. I had gotten to the point where I was like, I just wish Shari would just go ahead and move out of town. And I only say that because I was hoping that this book would be a book that was much more focused on the character of Chris. But yeah, it just frustrated me that the character Chris got backseated a lot to Shari's troubles. And, you know, even extensively speaking, like I said a minute ago, is that I feel like Sister Lou got the backseat too. Shari was a character who, she always had to be present, and I didn't quite know why. I mean, I get it, because she has that newspaper reporter sensibilities and, you know, instinct, especially when her and Sister Lou would team up to go visit suspects, etc., etc. But she always had to be there. I almost felt like she was a crutch in a sense. I was really hoping that we would push her just slightly to the side and let Sister Lou go at it alone. Because in the beginning of the book, Sister Lou actually was alone, except with the mayor, Heather. But Shari always eased back in there. And we had to go over Shari's background again. We had to go over Shari's feeling. I was like, Shari, move, girl, move. It's like, I like you, girl. I see you, girl. I identify with you, girl. I see you, girl. But we've been talking about your stuff for the past 2 books. And I mean, we've been talking about your stuff for the past 2 books. It's almost like that this series is not really about Sister Lou. It's about Shari. I'm just being quite honest. And let me tell you why I say this. I say this because Sister Lou has an interesting background herself. There's a history there that we never really got to get into, to see her previous life before she became a part of this congregation, and how that relates to her present life and her future intentions. We just never got to it. Because it never got to it because it's always Shari. It's always about Shari. Just never got to shine because essentially his role was to be the sidekick to Shari's conundrums. He was there to both nettle her in slight ways and be there to coo her as well. And I needed to see Ben as an independent force to Shari. I'm really saddened that Ben did not get his glow up in Alibis and Angels. That's just being honest, because I think Ben was a great character, and I keep saying this, I do like Shari, but it got to a point where I was like, she just needs her own book, because it's not enough. It's too much work and repetitious addressing of her particular character arc, from her past to her present to her possibilities for a future, and not enough going into Sister Lou, not enough going into Ben. That's just my personal opinion. And so, keeping in conjunction with that, that's why I'm kind of sad that this is the last book, because that means that we will never get into really undressing the character of Sister Lou, you know, really going into the digging of Sister Lou and into Ben. Sister Lou and Ben are a family, but we don't know that much about them as a family, you know, like where they exactly come from. I mean, it's mentioned but we don't go into it. And why? Because it's always about Shari. All in all, despite, and I really mean this from my heart, I really mean this from my heart. I know it's sounding corny right now. That despite as many things as I've complained about, as many things that's gotten on my nerves, as many things that I love the most, this series, I'm sure it's not just me personally. I'm sure there's other people who feel the same way, and I'm sure there's plenty of people who feel opposite to this. But this author has always had a certain, like I said, command of my attention. Like every single book, despite everything, I've always felt like this comforting vibe with this series, where I just had to know, even with Shari, about these characters. I had to know what they're gonna do, their steps, just whatever. And Shari can move. She got to move. Bye.